This is pro wrestling's original MTV star, rapid delivery Rory Fox, and you're watching the Wrestling Nerd Broadcast. Woo, 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 kiss my ass. Ha, 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 ha.
You're watching DaveCTV. Now here's your host, the voice, Dave Canning. It's you, it's me, it's DaveCTV. It's you, it's me, it's DaveCTV. Let's start the show.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen. It is you, it is me, it is NRD, and this week on episode 68 of the Wrestling Nerd Broadcast, we have a very special guest with us this week, hailing from Watkins, Iowa. He is pro wrestling's original reality TV star. Please welcome the one, the only, Rory Fox. Rory, thank you so much for coming on the broadcast this week.
Thanks for having me tonight.
Before
we go there, what's with the crown?
Well, that if
thank you.
I am currently the reigning, defending, and undisputed king of the nerds, my friend. And there is
I can see. I could see you be the king of the nerds. So go on. I got you.
I'm not just the king. I'm the four-time king.
He actually stole the crown. He actually lost the crown and then manipulated one of the puppets into giving him back the crown.
Did no such
thing. You're the four-time. He's a fake king,
the king. But I digress.
Yes, I am the four-time king of the nerds, but it's not about me this week.
I digress. That's the LaGreca guy.
Exactly. also named Dave.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
Yes, but so Rory, we introduced you as pro wrestling's original reality TV star, and so I'm just gonna ask right off the bat. I would love to hear your thoughts on The Miz and Maven, the other reality TV stars.
Yes, let's get that straight. The original, before there was Maven, and before there was that no good piece of crap Miz, there was rapid delivery Rory Fox.
That's right. From MTV's True Life, I'm a Professional Wrestler. And if you haven't watched it, or if you weren't alive when when it came out, like some people, there's some young kids. We had a 16-year-old on when we're filming this. It is Riley's birthday, so happy birthday, Riley.
Well, I would like to say that it's very hard to watch these days. WWE keeps pulling off of YouTube, so stay tuned. Rory Fox will be selling you the True Life I Want to Be a Pro Wrestler on DVD. Stay tuned.
Fantastic.
Spectacular.
I got to give it to the people. And the best part, it's got all the commercials in it too. So it's going back in time. It's a time capsule of 1999.
I would be more inclined to purchase it because of the commercials.
Yes, absolutely. I'm working on it. Every wrestling show I'm going to be at, it's going to be there.
Fantastic. So, but more importantly, so Rory, we know you are currently recovering from quadricep surgery right now. So, big question is, how are you feeling right now? How's the recovery going?
Well, other than still being pissed off that it happened and the opportunities I missed out on, I was going to be at the Squared Circle Expo in Indianapolis. I was in a 6-man tag to open this huge show, probably in front of 1,000 people, in front of a new audience, a new promotion, because wherever Rory Fox goes, he gets over at every show. So I'm pissed off about that. May 15th, I was going to wrestle the most professional piece of shit of pro wrestling, Brian Myers, at FWF Live 3. And then June 4th, 13 years in the making, one-on-one, Rory Fox and Matt Cardona in Iowa, in Fox Country. And poof, just like that, it's all gone. But I've already been reassured by the promoter. It's just going to have to be 14 years in the making now. You're not off the hook yet, Matt Cardona. But anyway, the staples came out Friday. I got 4 more weeks in this damn brace, and then I can finally start physical therapy. And hopefully by the end of summer, I'll be back in the ring, kicking ass and taking names.
We are very excited for both of those matches. So we've got to go to Matt Cardona. Big fan of this show, we hear. So we've got to ask, what is the relationship between you and not only Matt Cardona, but the rest of the Major Wrestling Figure podcast right now?
I don't know. I really don't like any of them, but they give me opportunities. They give me spotlight. You see, I wrestle in all these little shows around the Midwest, but the Major Wrestling Figure podcast gives me that traction on social media. You know, it allows me to be a part of FWF live shows. I mean, I stole the show in Dallas at their Live 12 show. I came out in the authentic rapid delivery Rory Fox gear from 1999 that I could still wear, by the way, and the authentic MTV jacket. Mr. Maven was up on the stage, and you would have thought he saw a ghost, because I called his ass out and I said, "What the hell are you doing here, Maven, when I'm the original MTV superstar?" Kevin Kelly once said it even in the match. "There's a Rory Fox in the making. Tough Enough, a new show from MTV, will be out soon." But what were we talking about again?
I think we were talking about the Major Pod guys.
Oh yeah. Anyway, you know, it's a love. It's like me and Matt. It's like Batman and Joker. It's like I hate him, but I need him, and he really sees something in me, or maybe he feels sorry for me, like ruining my WWE career. I don't know, because when he ripped my trunks off, WWE never took me seriously again, and I could never get booked again. So it's like he kind of feels sorry for me, but he also sees that I've been around 20 years. I can entertain the fans, and I can cut one hell of a promo. So I think we benefit each other, but there's still a mutual dislike, because I feel he stole my life. His life, that could have been mine if things would have went my way. He's got the hot wife. He's got the big house. That could have been mine in a different time, in a different place.
It's a
like
similar
that.
feeling to how we feel about Dave. You know, we hate each other. We hate him, but we need him. You know, he's given us a platform to propel ourselves, but goddamn, we hate him.
Yes, I hate Matt, but he's given me a micro brawler. I have trading cards. I have a pen with the, you know, I have all these new little gimmicks that I never would have had if it wasn't for Matt Cardona and the Major Wrestling Figure podcast. So it's like I respect him, but I still hate his guts.
Exactly. Like, I've given these guys all the platforms and whatnot. Heck, Tom even brought your sign to Impact tapings and Rebellion. Matt Cardona saw this sign as well. So just saying, they don't know how to appreciate us properly, you know.
Hey, were you at one of the shows too where Deanna Prazza was out there and they were yelling Ponderosa at her, and she's like, "What the fuck?"
I didn't hear that, but that's pretty funny.
Yeah, I finally got to ask her about it. Because I just recently heard about this. I'm like, I got to meet her at WrestleCon in Dallas. I was like, "Deanna, what the hell? What's up with this Ponderosa stuff? I just found out that Heath Slater thought your last name was Ponderosa." So the major marks found out about it, so they started a Ponderosa chant at her, and she like looked like, "What the hell is going on?"
Oh my gosh.
Ponderosa, man.
Oh man, that's pretty funny. I wish now I kind of wish I had known that beforehand.
Oh man, I got a story about Heath Slater. When I did the live show, the Major Pod live show in Oshkosh, we had to be by each other when we were selling merch after the show, and Myers and Cardona are doing their 2-hour VIP line. You know, it's like while that's going on, everyone else that was on the show, we can kind of pick the bones, and while you're in that long line, we can try to sell our merch as we go. And we were drinking PBRs all night, whatever they could give us, and I just kept getting on Heath and saying, we're the 2-man band, we're a new tag team and all this stuff, and I was just annoying the fuck out of him. It was so great.
So you
now I kind of know Heath. He's a pretty cool dude. I think he kind of likes me a little bit. He tolerates me.
I mean, do you think that people feel about you the way that you feel about Matt Cardona and Brian Myers and them? Or what do you think the standing is?
I don't know. I think the major marks kind of like me now because they're used to me just healing on them and just being nasty to them and nasty to Brian and Matt. And I interrupt the shows. It's like they hate me, but now they kind of respect me. They got like a soft spot for me because I'm like, it's happened throughout my career. You know, I'm the no good bastard heel son of a bitch, but eventually they just start to like me because I'm so damn entertaining. Just like what's going to happen to MJF. You know, eventually he's going to be the biggest babyface ever. No matter what he says, he's going to be a babyface.
I can't wait for that day to come.
Yep, it's just like Piper. You know, Piper was so good for so long. They just finally started cheering him. You can't do anything about it. Now, I'm not saying I'm Piper, but any of the promotions where I was that heel, you give me a good 2-year run as a heel there, they eventually just start cheering me, and it's always happened like that.
Is that what your goal for one day is to no longer be to consider a heel and be accepted as the baby face of the Major Pod universe, maybe?
Oh God, that's the thing. They kind of like me right now. They feel bad for me. You know, I had this terrible injury, but I got news for you. I'm not coming back as this great guy. As soon as I'm able to go back to their live shows again, you're gonna get the Rory Fox that they expect. You know, I appreciate their kindness right now, but man, when I'm healed up, I'm gonna be back fired up more than ever to just go after Cardona. And I still want my match with Brian Myers, and I hate that little no good bastard Swoggle. So I'll get him too. He once kicked me in the shin at the show, and I got stunnered by him. I took a stunner in Oshkosh, and then Joe Shoes was Yokozuna that night, and he sat on my damn chest.
Ooh, that must have hurt. Dylan Apostle Swoggle, friend of the show, by the way. He's been on here as well.
Hell with him. He ain't my friend. Oh, and I saw that new clip recently of that he pretends he doesn't remember when he was humping Eagle's leg. I'm telling you right now, Swoggle, you better not ever try to hump Rory Fox's leg because you'll be going to a hospital.
I have a question, Rory. You're talking about kind of maybe Heath loves you, you're pestering him. It doesn't seem like you got a lot of friends. I was looking at your career history. There's a few tag matches. It seems like you don't play well with others, even though you won tag team gold.
I don't like sharing the spotlight. I like the spotlight to myself. You know, I'll go to certain parts of the country and wrestle in tag matches there because that's less wear and tear on my body. You know, I don't give a damn about my partner, but if you look at it, and you're in a tag match, you get paid the same as you would a singles match, but you have to do less work. So, you know, I'll tolerate some tag matches. I'll pretend I like my partners, but no, I want that spotlight to myself.
Okay. I was surprised by one of your tag partners, Matt Stryker. How was he as a tag partner? He had quite the reign, over 100 days.
Oh, man, he was a tremendous wrestler. He was so damn good. He's another one. If there would have been an AEW back then, man, he totally would have been signed. And then, but he had the same name as a school's teacher, Matt Stryker, you know, so there was a little bit of a confusion there at the time. But what he had going for him, though, was the whole unibrow thing. That's kind of what separated him. And, you know, he had a really good run at Ring of Honor. I was never a Ring of Honor guy because I wanted to be like Honky Tonk Man. I can't go in there and wrestle like Nigel and Bryan Danielson and all that. I don't like to do that stuff. I like Honky Tonk Man.
Yeah, I've got negative feelings towards Honky Tonk Man. When
everyone has some negative, but he was always nice to me. So I'm talking just his wrestling style, not if say he was a piece of crap to you somewhere. I'm just talking.
Not me. I was a piece of crap to my brother.
Yeah, I feel sorry for you for that. It sucks, you know. You meet someone you grew up watching, you get disappointed. I got disappointed by Gangrel when he came and did our show at CW in Iowa. You know, he really let me down. We were in a tag match and things didn't go exactly to plan. And he acted like a childish, spoiled brat and did something on his own, went into business for himself and left the match, you know, because he got mad because everything wasn't perfect. It's like, you've been in the business for 30 some years. Go with the flow. You're going to work with guys. If you're going to take independent bookings, be prepared for shit not to go right when you're working with guys that have way less experience. I mean, that ruined it for me with Gangrel. He may be a nice freaking guy, but when he blew his wad in the ring or threw a fit and left the match before the ending, you know, I lost a lot of respect for him. But I understand there was some issues in the match, but you lose your cool like that and get mad at the indie guys you're working with, just make appearances and don't wrestle.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, you've got one up on them. You didn't blow the quad in the ring.
Yeah,
There you go.
that's right. So anyone that says, "Oh, Rory Fox, see, you're too old to be wrestling," no, I tore my quad before I had the match, so fuck you. I slipped in a hallway. I saw some kids at the entrance, or they came into the building, and I have another persona, and I have what's called these badges I hand out to the fans, and I was like, wait right there. I'm going to run to the back. I ran down a hallway, and if anyone knows about real pro wrestling boots, they have no traction. So you run down a concrete hallway and there's a big wet spot, you're going to slip and fall. It's like you running across ice.
Yeah.
When I ran down that hallway, I took a back bump and my knee went completely underneath me.
Oh.
So for anyone that says, "Oh, see, Rory, you're too old to wrestle," fuck you. I got hurt before the match. Ha ha ha.
You got hurt for the kids too.
That's right.
Yeah, you did it for the kids.
Shit in the ring.
That's his T-shirt right there. Rory Fox is for the children.
Yeah.
So-
Well, persona is he loves the kids. Rory Fox hates kids.
Okay.
So I've got a question off of that
I have a
story.
split personality. In Kansas City, I'm nothing like this. I love wrestling. I love the fans. I love the city, and I'm all happy. Rory's always angry.
I want to piggyback off of what you said with the story with the wrestling boots. Is there a reason why like traditional wrestling boots don't have the traction?
I don't know. That's just how they were made. Now I understand some of them. When Rey Mysterio went to WWE, they kind of changed things where you have some grooves in your boots, because when you try springboarding in them ropes, you want to have that so it'll kind of catch you and hold you there for a second for your springboard, because you can't be on live TV botching a springboard. That just doesn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, what really sucks though is, just think of it. If I would have been one of these backyard assholes, I just would have had sneakers on and I wouldn't have slipped and fell. But no, I'm a professional and I have wrestling boots. I was like, what a fool.
Yeah. You're not wearing those Dior Nike Dunks.
No, fuck no.
But so, speaking of the independent shows, when I wanted to go back to the point we touched on earlier with your time on the MTV True Life. I'm a pro wrestler. So how did that come to be? Like, was, obviously it was with Les Thatcher's school there, and was there, who approached you to be on that?
It's a funny story. If you look at the history of professional wrestling, someone gets a push because someone fucked up. And there was no exception to this. It was the same thing. They had a kid from Chicago named Matt Taglia, and MTV wanted someone training from scratch to have their first professional match on MTV. Well, Matt Taglia turned out to be a spoiled rich brat from Chicago that liked to do drugs, and he liked to smoke crack.
Oh.
And he stopped showing up for practice. One of the days I had to go, I was kind of his babysitter for a little bit. I would have to pick him up and take him to practice. We have practice at 6:00. So I come knocking on his door at 5:30. He's not answering because he's sleeping, because he got in at like 5 a.m. Apparently he was going to the clubs like every night downtown. He even says it on the MTV thing. It's like, I'm from Chicago. We go to the nightclubs every night. I can't give that up. And
I can't give that up.
He actually says that too, and it's embarrassing.
yeah, I can't give it up, man. He said he couldn't give up the Swedish fish either on that.
That was hilarious.
But the worst part is I'm from a population 100 in Iowa at the time. I'm naive as fuck. And he says one time, he's like, I wasn't Rory yet. He's like, Steve, can you take me downtown? Fifth Third is like the main bank in Cincinnati. Can you take me to Fifth Third Bank? I'm like, yeah, it's just down the street. No problem. No. I got to go down to the downtown branch to get some money out. And I didn't even think any of it, because I'm from the Midwest. I take people at their word. I was just naive. Okay, we go down to the downtown branch, and we get there at like 5:30, and he goes, okay, just let me out here. And 20 minutes go by. I have no idea where he's at. Finally, I go walking up to the Fifth Third Bank to see what the hell's going on. They were closed at 5 o'clock.
Oh,
Oh boy.
So Taglia from Chicago is downtown searching for crack. And the funny part was it starts to get dark and I've never even been downtown at this point. I called the school, and the guy that answers is GQ Masters III, who's on the MTV thing. He's also worked in the office. I'm like, and his name's Brady. I'm like, Brady, I don't know where Taglia went. What do I do, man? It's getting dark. I don't want to be downtown. He goes, hey, brother, you better get out of there before it gets dark, brother. Get back to the school. I'm like, okay. So I had to leave Matt behind, and I guess he was downtown for like 2 days, and then he resurfaced finally back at his room by the school. It's like the only thing I'd ever seen is marijuana. I've never seen coke or crack or anything, and this guy's dealing with all this shit. I'm like, fuck.
jeez.
Yeah, that episode is pretty wild. I'm watching that. I'm watching like, I don't know if this guy's gonna make it to the end of the episode, because just he's gonna get kicked out of this school. And he's like, I've done a little weed, little crack, never heroin. I was like, oh,
Never heroin, man. Never heroin.
That makes you a good person then.
And what about the thing too? It's all about the eyes. It's all about
Yes.
the eyes. Like he's Hogan and Andre, he's gonna make it because he can make the eyes like Hogan.
Yeah, I hope he's well right now. That's all I can say. But
Unfortunately, I guess he got arrested for armed robbery. I did a show at Black Label Pro a few years back, and one of the fans there had a mugshot of Matt Taglia. So I'm in my MTV shirt, and they had me take a picture with his mugshot.
oh man.
Oh, and it gets even weirder. A couple days later, I get an Instagram message from a kid, and he goes, "Why do you have a picture with my dad?" I'm like, whoa.
Uh-oh.
I was like, kid, I didn't mean anything by it. It was just a joke. Someone posted a picture, and he was like, it's okay. I haven't seen my dad in a long time. He's been in jail, and my grandma takes care of me. And I just tried to reassure him. I'm like, look, kid, his life doesn't have to be your destiny. He may be your dad, but you don't have to go down that route. You don't have to be anything like him. So don't ever think whatever he does really affects your life. You can be whatever you want to be. And then he was like, okay, cool. Well, thank you. And I thought this kid was mad at me at first. And I was like, shit. And it worked out all right. And he was cool. Man, I did not expect that.
Also in the MTV True Life, they show you getting the gear made, the rapid delivery paperboy gear.
Mhm.
Are those the same people that made the gear where it malfunctioned?
Oh, absolutely not. Nothing to do with that. See, that place, K&H, and near Columbus, Ohio, anybody who's anybody in the WWF in the 80s, that's where they used to get their gear. When I went there, there was 8x10s on the wall from Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Ricky Steamboat, what's his name's favorite, Honky Tonk Man, and anybody in the business. But no, the person that made my trunks for the ECW appearance, it was one of those deals where she made the trunks for me for free, and I said, well, if I get a match on WWE TV, I'm going to wear those trunks, so you're going to get some publicity.
Not the kind of publicity they wanted.
There you go. There you go. That's what I tell you. You get what you pay for.
Right.
Are you sure she didn't make gear for like guys who may dance a little and like
No.
Dance
Okay.
just a little.
Chippendales.
And she eventually became the Ring of Honor Women's Champion.
who's this?
Oh.
Kelly Klein? Someone else?
That was fine. She used to make
Oh.
gear. Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome.
And I only knew her when she was a valet at HWA. I didn't.
Huh.
That was later on when she was training to be a wrestler with BJ and Les and stuff like that. But yeah, that she was strictly just a valet then, and she was making gear on the side with it. But
That's right.
yeah, that's a little fun fact. She made those trunks for me, and I've never talked to her since.
We'll have to have her on the show.
That's a ballsy move to not talk to her, I must say.
Tweet her right now.
I do have a weird. Oh, go ahead, Dave.
Oh, no, I was gonna say if she's watching, please reach out to us.
I doubt she's watching.
I mean, I'm gonna say
too. Never know.
No, but we just have never had a discussion about it. I was angry about it for a long time, but then it's like, well, it gave me a second life, so it's okay. You know, it took 10 years, but it gave me a reason to come back when Matt texted me about coming to their live show in Chicago. He's like, hey, if you're available, can you come to Chicago? And I'm thinking, I do all these little small town shows in Iowa, and I go to Minnesota and Missouri and Illinois. You don't think I'm going to show up in Chicago and be part of the Major Live Pod show? This is when they were still with WWE as well. Like, oh, if you're not booked, you know, you can come to Chicago. It's like the Dennis Stamp and Beyond the Mat. I'd rather be there than breathe. This was my opportunity to get back in the spotlight and do something. And he made the most of it. It's like, I got to give him a nut shot, hit him with the title belt, and John Cone counted to 3. I mean, that was the start of this whole new world of opportunities for me.
That's awesome.
Speaking of live shows, you got any stories from the Gallows compound when you did the Talking Shop of Mania?
Oh, holy shit. I didn't even know if you guys knew about that Talking Shop. That first show, it's like everyone was annoyed by Virgil, but I enjoyed it. I thought Virgil was like my long lost uncle. It's like, I don't care how many times he told me about the $1 million title or whatever story. It's like, I don't care. It's fucking Virgil, man. He was in the WWF in the 80s when it was the shit. And it's like, you can repeat all the stories you want, man. As long as I get a picture with you. And Luke Gallows was always putting over on the show about me having a big cock. And I just wanted a picture with Virgil so I could do the whole real recognizes real, you know? Like, I love Virgil. I love talking to him.
Was Talking Shop just shot all in one day, pretty much?
No, they did it 2 days.
Oh, okay.
It was maybe about 1.5, but yeah, the first one, there was like no rules. It's like they were filming all around the yard, and everyone kept going in the house and going back, or downstairs in the basement, just kept going back in, drinking beer, whatever. And I guess they kept leaving the doors open. And Gallows said there were so many flies in that house after all the boys left. He had to spend so much on cleaning and yeah. I mean, I was drinking the first night after the first taping. The first night I was drinking till 4 o'clock in the morning poolside with John Schuyler and Alex Kozlov. And eventually there was nowhere for me to sleep. I passed out on a treadmill in the in fitness room, and that's where I slept at night.
Yeah.
That looks like it was.
Of course, they threw it into the commentary because Mrs. Gallo found me laying on the treadmill in the morning sleeping, and she got me a pillow. His house was destroyed in the basement, so by the time we got there for Talking Shop of Mania 2, there was a sign-in sheet. The front door was locked. You couldn't go in the house. You had to go around to the back, and it was like all organized. It was so different. It wasn't nearly as fun the second show. But the second show, though, I got to meet Scott Steiner, and I finally got a fucking picture with Big Papa Pump.
There you go.
And I was one of only a few people that had the balls to ask him, because everyone's like, "Oh no, don't approach Scott Steiner." I of course I couldn't ask him, but I had someone ask him for me, and then he's like, "Yeah, no problem." It's like, "Fuck, dude, that's cool." I thought he'd say, "Get away from me, you fucking mark." And he's nice as could be.
Well, we were told by Ian Riccaboni when we had him on a couple months back that
I saw Ian at the live show at in Baltimore. What's the crab place? The Jimmy's
Seafood.
Yeah, I met Ian there. Yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, he was telling us how, I think it was All In maybe, where like his son was just having like a temper tantrum and whatnot, and all of a sudden just Scott Steiner just comes up to him as like the child whisperer, and all of a sudden the kid's just having a great time all of a sudden. So Scott Steiner is apparently great with children. Wouldn't expect that.
Who would have thought? That's crazy.
So. Probably the last person I would think would be great with children.
He's like, What's your problem, kid? Shut the F up.
Yes, sir. Like
300 push-ups now.
Hopefully he owns like a Shoney's or something like that somewhere. Like he's
I
like a
think it
restaurant
shut. I
owner
think the
now.
Shoney's shut down. I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, at
but-
some point, but we're going on Hall Scott Steiner.
I could not believe it though when he was at the Hall of Fame there. It's like I get it. It's time to play nice, and you know your nephew's there now. Play ball and do the Hall of Fame thing. But that was so cool to see him there.
Yeah.
It was very odd. The cow tipping story with Randy Savage, but
Yeah, I did not expect that story. No,
I was like, of all the things Scott Steiner's going to say tonight, I did not have cow tipping with Macho Man on my bingo card.
but I will always remember, and I'm just wondering if Triple H thought this when he had to stand next to him with the fake smile with the rings. I wonder if he remembered when they wanted to drug test Scott Steiner. Scott Steiner goes, "Sure, I'll go take a drug test. You get Triple H, we'll go ride there together." they never drug tested him after that.
Wow.
That's pretty funny.
I wonder if Triple H remembered shit like that.
Probably. He's got a running list, I'm sure. Just like, oh, you want to come back for a Hall of Fame appearance? Remember when you said this in 1997 in Biloxi?
Yeah. I just think though, like Scott Steiner and Triple H, it's like if you nearly die, I think your life changes, and it's like some of the grudges you just let go.
Exactly.
Because they say Scott is really mellow now, unless you're a complete stupid asshole.
Yeah.
Scott's not going to get mad at you. Yeah, I mean, you got to be a complete dipshit now to piss him off.
He even like had a different air about him at the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like he looked really actually happy to be there. And it was like, this is so cool because it's so long overdue. And I was just so damn happy to see them there. And I love watching Braun every week because it's an extension of the Steiner brothers and reminds me of the old days of pro wrestling. I mean, some of the botches are pretty bad, but I still think of him as like the Steiner brothers.
Yeah. You could definitely see the family resemblance when you watch.
Wow, I watched him and Dolph. He almost killed Dolph on a botched like leapfrog. That was really scary. But yeah, I love watching Braun because he looks like Rick and he sounds like Scott. And that's one guy I really want to watch how his career develops.
Definitely. So with that being said, what kind of wrestling do you keep up with everything? Do you just watch mainly one brand, or what's your wrestling viewing habits?
No, I pretty much just watch like the WWE pay-per-views. Like I'll watch a couple matches. Like I had to watch Cody versus Seth. I just want to see Cody in that environment. And then I watched what was I thinking here? I had to see what Vince was going to do in that match, of course. And of course, Stone Cold and Kevin Owens. I mean, I didn't really like the Roman Brock match. That was like that old typical Lesnar match where he German suplexes you 15 times. I mean, but
yeah.
WrestleMania Day 1 was awesome. WrestleMania Day 2 was
yeah.
I gotta say, man, Johnny Knoxville was a highlight of the weekend for me.
Yeah, that was good though.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a fun match, and then I'll go listen to Jim Cornette, condemn it to death.
Oh, jeez.
But I mean, you and Johnny Knoxville.
I get a kick out of Cornette. I don't agree with everything he says or how he says it, but I just get a kick out of it. It's entertaining.
He's like the Howard Stern of
yeah, it's his gimmick.
My sister loves Jim Cornette. I don't know why, but
Or Margaret.
Oh yeah. I do like
he's on the hug list,
but it's just a lot of it's just too fast for me. I just hate that every match has 15 kickouts. It's like, why can't we just have some matches just have a straight comeback and pin the guy? I don't need the back and forth in every damn match.
Absolutely. Like, remember like when it was like Lesnar and Cena, and Lesnar just dominated Cena in like 5 minutes and like won the championship or something like that. It was like the most shocking thing that ever happened.
Oh God, one of the best things ever is when you didn't know Lesnar's going to be there, and he just goes out there and attacks Cena, and then kicks his hat out of the ring and just leaves him for dead. They're like, oh, it's great.
Like, did John get any offense in? Like, what's happening?
We didn't even see him.
Yeah, and then John went over in their match. I was like, oh, come on. Remember he had he put the chain necklace on his hand and jumped off the ringside step that was in the ring and knocked out Lesnar. And
Yeah.
oh, but anyway, I guess I missed out tonight. What the FTR wrestled each other in a singles match? That would have been good.
Yes, I missed out on that as well. I was calling a baseball game. I think did you guys watch that?
I have not watched Dynamite yet either. So I think
You gotta love DVR. You can watch.
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
Yeah.
The ending was great. That's all I saw. So
Oh, another surprise.
it was 45 kickouts, three super kicks every 10 seconds. No, it was, I mean, like I said, like I saw the last couple flurries.
I kind of see where I agree with Cornette is Moxley, Punk, and Danielson. Some guys, they need to beat in 5 minutes. You don't have to have a 15-minute match with everybody on the roster.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, but then again, that's what that crowd wants, but like other ones have said, that's not going to expand your audience. It's going to keep your current audience happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But what do I know though? I'm on the outside looking at.
Nick, I think I saw you just poke something up in the corner there.
Oh yeah, I said I want to talk about the micro brawler.
That's right.
Yes,
Look at that.
Absolutely.
We're actually
Another benefit of
run
being
the
a Major Wrestling Figure podcast, a micro baller.
but I actually run the micro brawler fan group, me and Ryan, and we're big. I mean, you can see all the micro brawlers behind us. We're big.
Yes, I love it.
A lot of our watchers and our micro brawlers fans. So you just got how did this end up happening? You said through the majors.
Yes, that happened because of Matt Cardona. So that's one thing I love about Matt Cardona. He made that happen. That was Matt. That wasn't the other guys saying we got to have a Rory Fox micro brawler. That was Matt Cardona.
Did you have any input on it at all?
No, just out of the blue. One time I'm wrestling at a show in Des Moines and I posted a picture from the show, and just out of the blue, Cardona texts me and says, "Hey, send me a picture of your new gear and that t-shirt you're wearing." And next thing you know, I had no idea what it was for. I didn't ask what, I just sent it to him. I didn't question it. And next thing you know, I got a micro brawler with the Always Angry t-shirt and the new wrestling trunks I had and the boots. Like, wow. So for a guy never having a WWE contract, I mean, that's pretty fucking cool.
You can say you got an action figure. This is legit.
All because I made the most of each opportunity they gave me, because I may not have had a contract, but I'm a seasoned wrestler that has wrestled in all parts of the country and got over wherever I went. So, there's something there to make money off of. And I mean, I'm grateful they keep giving me opportunities. Those are my WrestleMania moments, other cool things. Like, I've been around this long, and I never thought I'd get all these little opportunities, and just every time they give me something, I just keep knocking out of the ballpark, and I just keep going.
Yeah. Obviously, like with the micro brawler, to be immortalized in figure form is, a lot of, not just wrestlers, but just people in general. It's a life goal of theirs to be immortalized figure form. As from your wrestling career, is there any like goals or boxes that you have left to check that you want to do?
Well,
other than Matt Cardona
I mean, before the year WrestleMania was going to be in Tampa, and then COVID killed it. That was one thing that would have been cool, because I was just going to go do the live show in Tampa for the Major Wrestling Figure podcast, and Matt made a call to John Cone, when he was in charge of that, and I was going to get to be an extra at NXT, SmackDown, Mania, Raw, all that stuff. And it's like, I would have got to go back one more time. That would have been cool. But now I'm just like, I don't want to do that now. Wear a suit and stand around all day. Yes, sir. No, sir. And I'm getting, like Danny Glover said, I'm getting too old for that shit. I think it'd be cool one time to do AEW once, like a dark or the other shows. I think that'd be cool to do one time.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to do it if I'm going to wrestle someone like Lance Hoyt and get carried out to the ring and destroyed in 5 seconds. It's like, I don't want to be remembered like that. I would rather have a competitive 6-minute match on dark, go out there in good shape, look the part, and just do that one time. You think a guy like Moxley, you know, who I've known since he's a rookie, maybe throw me a bone and get me one dark match, you know, but you know, people forget.
Who would
That
you
would,
like?
that would be cool to do. But otherwise, what's left on my bucket list is I want that main event match against Matt Cardona. I want to wrestle Brian Myers at least once because he thinks I'm only as good as what you saw in Taco Shop Mania, and I disagree. But otherwise, I just want to keep doing my indie shows, and I want to be that guy that the legends can trust to have a match with and not get hurt out there. And I take pride in doing that. I want to keep wrestling legends and just keep doing my thing around the Midwest. And whenever the major pod calls me, I'll go back to New York or I'll go do their live shows. That's what I'm just going to keep doing.
Well, if you ever come out to Michigan, I will certainly come see you.
Oh shit, I could come out to Michigan, no problem. I'd love to come out to Detroit sometime.
I'm on the west side. I'm by Grand Rapids, but Detroit's only 2.5 hours.
So we've got his address right here if you want to.
I'm worth the drive.
I'd have no problem. I'll take you out for a drink.
Yeah, and dinner too.
We probably eat very differently.
You can be my sponsor that night, like the Good Brothers had in Japan.
Perfect.
Then I get to chop you at the end of the night.
I've taken a chop from Congo Kong. Who else? Drago.
Oh geez, how was the Congo chop?
Congo Kong was fucking rough, man.
I bet he's a good sized guy.
He knocked me back like 3 or 4 feet, but he was the nicest dude when I met him. Like, he sat down, took some time with me, and we just shot the shit.
He was nice until you wanted to chop.
I said, "Hey, would you mind chopping me?" He's like, "Yeah, take your shirt off." And I said, "All right."
Gotta protect the
Did you ready for this? I go, "You ready?" He goes, "You ready for this?" I go, "No, but go ahead." I had his handprint like probably up to my neck for like 4 days.
Yeah, that's what I can do when I wrestle on these shows with these independent guys and these kids. They like to do 4 or 5 chops. I'm just going to give you one chop and I can leave a handprint.
I just want one good chop. That's it.
Yeah, that's all you need.
For me, it's a respect thing. It says, you know, I know what you do hurts. This is
Isn't it
just
way
a
worse
touch
if
of
you like
learning
flex
that.
up? Like you gotta
It's
go
a
to
little-
the roots,
it's a
right?
little
If you like
reminder.
setting up.
Respect.
Yeah.
I got chopped by Darby Allin, and he broke the skin. It was incredible. That
I've
thing.
never let anybody chop me. I just want to go on record and say,
And I'll say this:
I'm
once
to be chopped.
once you get chopped, you have a new appreciation for wrestling. Because just any time I've been to a show since, they just get that chop, and it's PTSD. I'm like,
I'll tell you another thing that'll give you respect forever is get in the ring with someone and let them pick you up and body slam you. Once you hit that mat, you'll have a total different understanding about pro wrestling.
I can imagine.
You know, we land on that how many times a match, and then you take one and you're like, oh, I don't want to get up. And it's like, you'll find out.
Rory, you mentioned, I forget the wording you used. I would, dirty backyard wrestlers. I was one of those, but I got in a real ring and an elbow drop from the second rope, like broke me.
No, but one second though. Let me take it back there. You may have been a backyard wrestler, but I forgive you because I see my T-shirt in your background. You're forgiven.
Exactly. Hey, my wife, I'm wearing color. I'm wearing a T-shirt. I'm supporting you. It's all everything together.
Thank you. But you said, I'm sorry. I got like ADHD. I'm all over the place. But you said you hit the elbow and then.
Well, I was just saying, you're talking about how rough the ring is. And I'm pretty much the same size as when I was 16, sadly. But an elbow drop from the second rope like rocked me. The whiplash from that was insane. So
did you hit it? Did you hit it or did you miss it?
You mean like hit the person?
Yeah.
No, I don't even remember, to be honest. My body was a noodle whiplash. I didn't hurt anybody. Because
it's kind of different. Like when you hit it, you land on your side, but when you miss it, you're just jumping in the air and taking a big ass back bump. And but yeah, if you don't tuck your chin, you're really gonna get your bell rung.
Oh yeah.
The only good thing is about wrestling for years and years and years, it's like an instinct that you automatically tuck your chin. I'll tell you what scares the hell out of me is those buckle bombs. It's like your neck snaps back. When I saw what happened to Sting that time, I was like, no way. No way.
Yeah, those always get me real worried when I see those. I'm like, I don't know if there's a good way to take that.
And the fact that fucking buckle bomb is just a setup to do another move, it's like, fuck you. Don't even do it then. That's just like you're risking that guy's health just for a setup move.
Oh.
The buckle bomb, when done right, should be a finish. Not a setup for a power bomb.
I remember when the Canadian Destroyer used to be a finisher.
Yeah.
Speaking of power bomb,
how cool is that to see Ricky Morton doing that Canadian Destroyer?
I saw that in January, and I like the entire building just exploded.
And
it was incredible.
And I will say when I wrestled him in front of 200 people in Des Moines, he was not doing the Canadian Destroyer in that match. we didn't lock up for almost 8 minutes, and it was just he kept doing rock and roll chants, and I kept getting pissed off. I was like, I don't want to hear any damn rock and roll chants. And we did that for about 8 minutes, and we finally wrestled.
Nice.
And the best part about Ricky Morton was I was talking to him in the back, and he's like, "Don't touch me unless I tell you, and don't touch my fucking chair." But yeah, I like to do a little Ricky Morton. So if I ever wrestle him again, I'll cut a promo. I respect this business, and kid, you've been around for 5-10 minutes. I respect this business. I've been around 40 goddamn years, back when the motherfuckers were hanging from the rafters. Anyway,
that's a very good Ricky Morton.
I respect this business. I always fuck with him now because I see him on some shows every now and then. And this is the thing. How cool is this now? It's like, okay, I never got a WWE contract, but you know what? I went to fucking WrestleCon. I got hugs from the Powers of Pain. Barbarian goes, Rory, how you doing, Rory? I got a hug from Tommy Rich, fucking Rock and Roll Express. It's like, okay, I didn't get a contract, but I get fucking acknowledged by all these legends. I'll take that.
Yeah.
So for all you smart marks that think, oh, you're just a jobber that did matches on WWE TV, it's like, hey, I get respect from legends, so I'll take that.
You were still on WWE TV though, so they can fit in their basements,
and they wish they could be.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I still just
you're just a jobber. It's like I wrestled all over the indies. I won championships all over, and there wasn't an AEW when I was in my prime. There wasn't a WCW either. When I trained to wrestle, there was ECW, there was WCW, and there was WWE. I didn't even want to go to WWE. I wanted to be in that WCW cruiserweight division because when Jericho left, I saw that opening. It's like, I want to be the franchise Shane Douglas kind of slash with Chris Jericho. I want to be that old school wrestler, but be really annoying as fuck like Chris Jericho. And then boom, it was gone, you know?
Yeah.
That was my dream. I wanted to be in that WCW cruiserweight division.
Yeah. So what was your biggest goal? Like when you first got into wrestling, was your mindset, WWE or bust or WCW or bust? Like what was...
I got all excited when I saw, I don't know if people remember this or not, but when Ultimate Warrior went back to WWF in '96, he started doing these commercials about Warrior University, and
yes,
Warrior University could quite possibly lead you into the dressing rooms of the WWF. I got all excited, like, yeah, I can go to the WWF because Ultimate Warrior said so. and believe it or not, I was at the King of the Ring '96 in Milwaukee. One of my best friends, who's still one of my best friends to this day and has really helped me out during this whole surgery thing, Germ. His stepdad flew us in a private plane and we went to Milwaukee. I was there for the birth of Austin 316. And after the show, we go to this little restaurant and there's Earl Hebner, there's Jack Lanza and George the Animal Steel. And I'm about to lose my mind. And I'm like, Earl, I want to get into pro wrestling. I want to go to Warrior University. And he's like, well, Well, kid, you just wait a little while. Wait for the first group to go through, and then maybe get in there and see if you can do it. and I was like, oh, thank you, Earl. Thank you so much. And we were staying, and we actually gave them a ride back to the hotel. We were actually staying at the same hotel. And I just kept talking to Earl and Jack and George. And it's like we got off at our floor, and I wanted to stay in the elevator and just go up with them and just keep talking wrestling. And they're like, come on, Steve, we got to go. Come on. You got
Oh, is this even your floor?
Yeah, fucking 1996. But no, I just when I eventually checked out a pro wrestling school, Les Thatcher was the only one that actually got on the phone and actually would speak to me. I called ECW, I called Kowalski. All I kept getting was voicemails, Larry Sharp voicemails. Les took the time and talked to me, and then I did a little research, and I realized it's like, okay, this guy's like 5'7", and he had a 20+ year career in pro wrestling. So he obviously has to know something about pro wrestling, because you don't get to stick around that long when you're an undersized guy. And yeah, he just charmed me. Me and my dad went out there and visited, and he said all the right things. And I was like, man, this is where I'm going to go. So I picked up everything. You know, I'm from a town of 100 people in Watkins, Iowa. I worked at a factory 2 years saving to go to pro wrestling school, and I just picked up and moved out to Cincinnati. And once I started training, I'm like, my goal wasn't WWF anymore. It was just like, God damn, I just want to have a professional wrestling match.
Yeah.
Because this is really hard. It did not come easy for me at all. I was a fan all my life, and it still did not come easy to me, because what I thought was pro wrestling was a total opposite once I started taking bumps in that ring.
Now, was Les the actual one that was training you? Because I know some of these schools, sometimes you like you think you're, and then you get there and it's like actually like some of his students or something.
Yes, Les was very hands-on. It's like he would get in the ring to show you some things, but otherwise you had Cody Hawk, who's still training people today. Cody Hawk and
That's awesome.
DQ Masters, and one guy, his name was Chip Fairway. He was really on WCW's
I remember Chip Fairway.
radar, which they didn't sign him. They eventually gave Barry Darso a golfing gimmick that they ripped off from Chip Fairway. Barry Darso, who was in Demolition, and he was also Blacktop Bully. They eventually made him a golfer, but that was Chip Fairway from
When did that make him a golfer?
Yeah. But and oh, by the way, Barry Darso is a freaking excellent human being. I love him, but I think WCW stole that from HWA. But yeah, Les would get in there and he kind of go over like the headlocks and kind of like working somebody over in the corner, punch him in the gut on 1, forearm on 2, kick the gut on 3, punch on 4, and then the clean break. Just the little psychology and little nuances of the business. Les would help out with that. But what was also cool about Les was when practice was over, he was still in the office, and the few of us that would still stick around afterwards to work on new moves, Les would come out there and talk with us and hang out with us. And Les really gravitated to the ones he could tell that really wanted it. Now, if he wasn't on your ass and chewing you out, then he didn't really give a shit. And I got a lot of ass chewing. So he did like me. and the best part, I can tell you another Les Thatcher story. The best part was, and we all hated it, but on Sundays, we always had training at 11 on Sundays. And all of us would go out on Saturday nights and party and get drunk as fuck. And how many guys would not come in on Sundays? So, and this was the thing, you were required to go to practice. You couldn't just say, just not go. So if you weren't going to practice, you had to leave a voicemail and say you weren't coming to training, or you had to call. So, and Les was hip to this. He knew all these damn punks are getting drunk and they don't want to come to training at 11 on Sunday. So Les would actually answer the phone and go, Heartland Excuse Line, this is Les. and the one weekend where I didn't call in to cancel, I just stayed home and just stayed in bed. I got a call on the voicemail. Yes, This is Les Thatcher. I am calling for Stephen Moss. And your ass is grass. Click. And you don't get that nowadays. Trainers don't give a fuck. As long as you pay, that's all they care about. But Les would call and ask why you weren't at practice. And, you know, that's one thing that was really great about him. Now, he wasn't going to help me get a job, but he was going to make sure that I knew what the hell I was doing in the ring. I could call a match in the ring, or if I'm wrestling with someone that doesn't know what they're doing, I could at least get through the match. And I'll always be grateful for that. Now, it kind of bums me out because the trainers later on are always like, let's get you a job as quick as we can, because then we can say, hey, he came to this school and they signed us. Like, look at Matt and Brian. They went to Mikey Whipwreck's school for a year, and he has a connection with Tommy Dreamer and gets them signed at 19 years old. I didn't even go to training till I was 22. And Les, like, wanted to keep the guys in the territory so he could do all his traveling shows. And that's what kind of sucked. It's like, I feel like he wanted to keep us around to help draw his local cards, instead of thinking like, hey, if I try to get all these guys into WWE, I'm going to have a ton of people wanting to come to this school. He didn't think like that. But the other thing was, he's really old school in this way. It's like, if he gets us booked for WWE dark matches and we shit the bed, it's Les's reputation. So he's vouching, like the mob, he's vouching for, it's like, what was that movie? Donnie Brasco. Do you vouch for him? Do you vouch for him? Yeah, no. It's like, yeah, it's like, in order for Les to make a call and get you booked, he has to be 100% believing in you, because it's his reputation. And nowadays, it doesn't matter about that. It's like, I want to get you assigned as quick as possible. I don't care. It's like, the old days of trainers are like, you're a representation of me. Don't embarrass me. Until I believe you're completely ready, I will not vouch for you for a booking. So I had to leave and go home. And within 3 months, I got myself booked, which I'm very proud of, because I sent in my footage to WWF and I contacted Kevin Kelly. This is back when you actually had to send in a VCR tape, a resume, and an 8x10. And I got a call from Kevin Kelly to ask me if I could make it to Minneapolis and Grand Forks. And when I heard that voicemail, I just started jumping up and down. I could not believe it. I was booked with the World Wrestling Federation. But as we get later to that top 3 segment, that's a big part of it. So yeah, it was like, I was so proud that I had to leave and go home in order to get myself booked with the WWF, because Les would not vouch for me. But at the same time, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. We were 90 miles from Louisville. So if you're in that area, they're going to book the OVW guys, which I understand that, unless you're 6'5", then maybe they'll overlook you're not being an OVW guy. So I don't know. It's, you can look at it 2 different ways with that.
And so obviously you brought up the top 3 Tuesday. So I think that's a perfect transition. So we'll give you the floor to give us the top 3 Tuesday and the topic for the day. So the floor is yours, sir.
So I've thought about this. So my top 3 for Tuesday is my 3 favorite matches. Number 1. Do I do number 3 or do number 1? I don't know.
We never order them.
3, 2.
Yeah,
2,
3, 2, 1.
What?
I said do 2 if you can't decide 1 or 3. I don't know.
No, I have 3, but if you do 3, 2, 1 or 1, 2, 3,
I think 3, 2, 1 would be good for this one.
okay. All right. This is during my Texas days when I moved to Texas in 2007. Rory Fox and another guy from Dallas, his name was Mike Fox. Of course, he had 2 X's, though. He wasn't smart enough to get it to 1. So we're kind of like the Fox brothers. Total pretty white boys, as white as it gets in South Texas. Again, LAX. That's Hernandez and
Homicide,
yes. South Texas, the perfect ingredients for a big disaster. Mind you, this is 2007, is not 2022. So of course you're going for the race angle, the lily white guys against the Latino Hispanic guys. So we have this big tag team match. There's probably 500 people in the crowd, and I'm in the I've never heard so many loud boos in my life. That's part of it was so exciting. But the end of the match, I'm in the ring with Hernandez, and he's doing the big hot comeback on me. And eventually, this is before I knew how dangerous Hernandez was in the ring, and he had no regard for his opponents. But this was the first time that I took his border toss and landed on my neck. And I thought, holy shit, I just landed on my neck. When he pins me, I'm just not going to move. I am going to lay there till the freaking crowd starts leaving, because this is the main event. That's right, the main event. And he pins me 1, 2, 3. They do their whole celebration. He walks over me, everything. Their music shuts off. They leave. I still haven't moved a freaking muscle. So I'm thinking the crowd's going to think like, whoa, Rory's really messed up. And finally, the ref's checking on me. I don't move a muscle.
Oh, jeez.
My tag team partner, Mike Fox, comes over, and I go, help me up. And he slowly lifts me up off the mat, puts my arm around him, helps me out of the ring, and we start to go to the back. Okay, to the fans, it looks like I'm severely injured. I'm getting help to the back. Didn't matter. I got cups of ice thrown at me. I got beer thrown at me. It's like I was getting stretchered, and the crowd was still throwing shit at me. That's how much heat I had in South Texas against LAX. So that's number 3. So that was my first experience about like what real heat in pro wrestling was.
Yeah.
They hated me so much, I didn't get a standing ovation. I got beer and ice thrown at me when I got helped up off the mat after I got thrown on my neck from a border top. So yeah, I almost had a
Glad
choke.
you weren't
No,
a couple miles more south, or it could
totally
have not
fine,
been
but I
something
just
else.
made the
Sounds
most of it.
better.
Like, yeah. Number 2, I wrestled the Honky Tonk Man in Texas. So to me, he's one of the biggest stars of the 80s to me, because the whole year as Intercontinental Champion, and then when he lost to Ultimate Warrior, here I am in Texas. You know, I'm not a local guy. I had to earn my spot in SCW wrestling there. And I got to a point where I was doing so well as a heel. It's like, we're going to bring in Honky Tonk Man for 2 days. And Rory, we want you to wrestle him one of the nights. So I got to wrestle Honky Tonk Man. And we had a great match. We had a ton of heat, but Honky told me before the match, now I'm going to go to the ring. I'm going to sing my song. I don't want you near ringside. I want you to be way in the fuck back by the locker room. Like, okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I go out for my match. I don't know. I totally forgot whatever he told me, and I'm just trying to get heat right away. So he's singing a song in the ring. I'm the Honky Tonk Man. I'm yelling at ringside, this sucks. I hate this music. Da 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 da. And he's like totally pissed at me about it, because I totally forgot what he said. But I was so starstruck and nervous that I totally forgot. But it worked, because the crowd booed it, and they cheered him and booed me. And I also got to learn in the match that Honky Tonk Man gimmicked his wrist tape so I could take it off and choke him with it. It's like, wow, this is amazing. That was so cool. I learned so much from Honky Tonk Man. And the best part was Rory Fox, Stephen Moss, 10-year-old kid from Watkins, Iowa, watched him on WWF TV. I wrestled the Honky Tonk Man in 2007, and it took the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. It took a guitar shot to my head to pin Rory Fox for a 1, 2, 3. Not
Those
this
guitar shots. Is that guitar gimmick?
Yeah, not this later on where he would just do a shake, rattle, and roll, and he wouldn't bump, and the guy's just supposed to bump. I got hit with a guitar. 1, 2, 3. and I got to drink some whiskey with him after the match, and I got a great selfie with him that I still treasure today.
There you
Yeah.
go.
So that's number 2. And now, number 1. This was the fact that I got this booking all by myself, because I sent in the tape. I didn't depend on Les, anyone else. I was like, I got to do this. I got to find out. And the day of the show, Tony Gurria's walking around. I've never been there before, and I don't know what to do. And he's looking around who he's looking for extra talent. So of course I see Tony looking. So I start doing Hindu squats right by him to look like I'm working out. And Tony Gurria goes, "Yeah, you don't mind getting beat up, do you?" I'm like, "No, sir, not at all." So next thing I know, he writes me in versus Haku.
No.
This is 2001. I've been in the business for 2 years. 20,000 people. I'm used to wrestling in front of 150 people, if that. 20,000 at the fucking Target Center. The dark match was Governor Jesse the Body Ventura managing Shelton Benjamin and Brock Lesnar against 2 locals. I'm wrestling Haku, who I saw in 1986 at the 5 Season Center in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and my first ever WWF wrestling show. And I was pretty nervous, but this was great though for me, because this is before when they would just use guys on Raw and destroy them in 1 minute. I got to be a part of back when they still had syndicated wrestling. It was called Jacked and Metal. So I got to wrestle Haku in a match. It was about a 7-minute match, and it's still on YouTube to this day. It's got like 20,000 views, which is awesome. And Haku's one of the baddest dudes ever, yet he let little Rory Fox from Watkins, Iowa, hit him with a top rope missile drop kick. We had some good little back and forth in the match, a little up and over and move out of the way, and just little back and forth stuff, more than I would have ever dreamed of. Haku was so generous with me, and it's like I will never forget it to this day. I got to hit a missile drop kick on Haku in front of 20,000 people and go for a cover. It's the greatest. And I got to meet up with Haku again this summer. Central Empire Wrestling in Iowa is my main promotion I work for. And I got to pick him up at the airport, and we had breakfast, and we got to talk again. And he really, what he did for me was unheard of, because it's all about him getting his shine there. It's like, it wasn't a dark match. It was for TV. So it was all about making him look good. So he didn't have to do that. It's like, he liked me enough, and I was respectful enough to get those little opportunities in the match. And it was still, all these years later, it was my most competitive WWE match, because when I did SmackDown, when I did Raw, it was a 1-minute match. I couldn't show what I could do against Umaga. I couldn't show what I could do against Heidenreich on SmackDown. And yeah, it's just, that's why it's my favorite match ever. I got to wrestle someone I grew up watching, and it was in front of 20,000 people, and it got to be a somewhat competitive match. And that is the show where Kevin Kelly said the famous line, "Who's going to be the next Rory Fox in the making? MTV's Tough Enough is a new show coming this fall on MTV." I said, "Rory Fox in the making." So it's on TV. It's immortal.
There you go. So yes, of course, everyone, let us know your favorite Rory Fox moments and matches in the comment section below. Of course, so Rory will also give you the floor to let everyone know where they can find you. Let us know about the GoFundMe and all that stuff. Please, where can everyone find you?
I'm on Instagram at the Rory Fox, just like the Matt Cardona, the Rory Fox. I'm on Twitter, Rory Fox _. I have ProWrestlingTees.com, Rory Fox 11, if you want to help me out and get some t-shirts. Yeah, I guess I got a GoFundMe. Some people set it up for me. I'm not big on begging for GoFundMe money, but yeah, if you just appreciate what I've done in my career and you want to help me out, because my wonderful is it Obama or what's his name now? Biden care. My deductible is $8,700 on my surgery. So so every little bit helps, and I haven't even started therapy yet. So yeah, if you want to go to my GoFundMe, it's on my Facebook and Twitter. That'd be great. But otherwise, just go to my Pro Wrestling Tees store, and that every little bit helps. I appreciate all the fans that have checked in on me, those that love me or hate me that have helped me out. I really appreciate it.
Definitely.
Well, I mentioned before, we're part of the Micro Brawler fan group.
Yeah.
And Ryan there graciously says that he has a few extra. Right.
Yeah.
So we do raffles on there sometimes. So we're gonna raffle off a couple of them and send you the proceeds for it to help you out a little bit.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you so much.
Okay.
And the last time I was on they do the boozing with the toys. I went on there and I kept bragging about the sold out Rory Fox micro brawler.
Yep.
And Myers is all like, God, how long did it take? I go, it doesn't matter. It's sold out.
But not this one. I only collect classic guys, except for the ones you see all up here that are in the case.
Yeah.
Those are people that we've had on the show. So
Yeah.
you're after the show, you're gonna be right up there forever.
Man, thank you so much. That's no matter what anybody says, that's a cool damn
You'll
figure.
be right between Frank Spahick from Pro Wrestling Tees and Robert Anthony.
Oh, hell yeah. I'll take it.
Yeah. Maybe real quick. I was gonna say, like you said, Nick's gonna do some raffles because we got a couple extra, to give to you, because we greatly respect what you do and your sacrifice and your continued career. So I gotta put that down. King Dave, wanted to get your sweet micro brawler and give to you. We want to thank Matt Bish as well. Thank you, Matt. And then Nick's gonna do some raffles in the group. So
Duck races.
yeah.
Hey, whatever you can do, I appreciate it.
Oh, that's amazing.
And NRD, Nick's Racing Ducks. We can't wait. So, yes. So yes, Rory, anything else you wanna plug before we say goodnight?
There's
I
one
think
more
that's
thing.
everything. I used to have a collar and elbow store, but they shut that down. So yeah, just prowrestlingtees.com/RoryFox11. I think I'm gonna have some more t-shirts coming, so check me out.
Fantastic.
There's also your MySpace. I'm on cagematch.net, and your MySpace is there. Your MySpace is there still, and there's a top 8. There's only 7. So there's room. There's one spot left, people. Check it out.
Well, you want it, you can have it.
If you can help him remember his login, you can have that spot, right?
Yeah, I wish I could. But if you look at that MySpace, that is from my Texas era. So I slowly started to grow the blonde hair out. For a little bit, I looked like the Crusher. And then finally, I had shoulder length hair. So I got a little bit of Hulkster stuff because I bleached a goatee. Because it's like I kept going back to WWE. When I had the spiky hair, John Laurinaitis would pretend to be on his phone and ignore me because I'm 5'8". And then even when I had traps up to my ears, I took my vitamins, brother. He still would walk right by me on the damn phone. Then I grew my hair out, and they still walked right by me with his cell phone. I know he wasn't on that phone. I don't buy that shit for 1 minute.
Oh man, but Rory, this has been an absolute blast having you on the broadcast this week. We thank you for your time. We hope you have a speedy recovery. We know that's it's not an easy injury to overcome, but we're 100% positive that you will be always ready in a year's time for that grudge match against the Majors.
Ready and angry.
There's going to be a rapid recovery. I think we need that as a t-shirt.
There you go,
Yeah.
rapid recovery. That's definitely in the works. We can't wait. So yes, thank you again, Rory, for coming on the broadcast. Don't forget, folks, like this video, share it with your friends, and of course, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. When you're going and checking out Rory's Pro Wrestling Tees store, you can check out ours as well, prowrestlingtees.com/the Wrestling Nerd Broadcast. We have our Patreon, patreon.com/WNRDB, Twitter, Facebook, and the Instagram, the Wrestling Nerd Broadcast. And like I said, make sure if you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button. So until next time, on behalf of myself, the 4-time King of the Nerds, the Micro Brawler Scholar, Mr. Ryan Crossley, the founding father, Mr. Nick Carpenter, and the handler of our former commissioner, Mr. Harold the Puppet, and of course, Mr. Rory Fox. Don't forget to tell your mother you love her every day, because like Kevin said,
let's see the puppet once. I told you I didn't want to see the puppet, but let's bring him in now. It's okay.
Let's bring it, Harold.
Well, hello there. It's me, Rory, Harold the Puppet. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, I just loved watching you interview with my friends on the Wrestling Nerd Broadcast.
God. Oh God, that's enough. Hey, hi, Harold. Nice to see you. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Oh God.
So on behalf of Harold, don't forget to tell your mother you love her every day, because like Kevin Durant said, Mom, you're the real MVP. Good night, everyone. God bless America.